Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Bottom of the Smash Mountain, a podcast focused around Melee, hosted by Jesse Wall, aka Cypher, aka me. That's me talking. Yes, that's right. I am the host of this whole thing, and I am the one who is trying to upload all the interviews I've ever done on my podcast onto YouTube. I am aware of how much access YouTube may or may not provide. Hopefully a lot for those of you who are more YouTube-focused platform users. Maybe you don't like listening to podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Podcast Addict or Podbean or many of the other podcasting platforms. There's apparently more than just 3. The point is that if you don't want to listen to a podcast but you want to watch a video of a picture, maybe have it in a separate tab while you continue to browse the internet, now you can do it through YouTube. So hope you continue to listen, and thanks for watching.
Here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain, and today I'm so happy to be joined by 3 out of the 4 main representatives of the Rollback Rumble TO team. The TO team. Shoutouts to Deadstorm, who is not here, but firstly we have Brandon. Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. We also have enby, as in Jayde, who helps to TO the Rollback Rumble series. Welcome.
Hi. How's it going?
Oh, yes, I'm doing fantastic. I'm a little nervous, but you can probably hear that. And then we also have Shiggles, who helps to do all of the artwork and much more for Rollback Rumble. Thank you so much for joining us, Shiggles.
Howdy. How you guys doing?
Oh, yes. So I'm just like halfway head over heels, but also halfway understanding that this is a little bit of a big deal. I really appreciate all of you being here and talking to me about the Rollback Rumble tournament series, each of your perspectives on Melee and your journeys and how it all sort of came together. That's what we'll be going through tonight. So the best way to start to talk about the Rollback Rumble tournament series as a whole is to talk about each of your beginnings, and you can take as much time as you need and start with how Melee was first becoming a thing in each of your lives. So I'll start with you, Shiggles. How did Melee first become something that was important to you?
I'm kind of a bona fide dot kid, around 2013, so I think that was my sophomore year of high school, maybe freshman year. Just perusing YouTube, It's like, oh wait, I played Melee all the time as a kid, and here's this, long form documentary, and me being kind of a, dweeb in high school, I love long form YouTube content, so I'm just gonna sit down and binge this all in one single night. And, I'm sure a lot of people share a similar story, and watching the documentary kind of just like, set that spark of like, oh man, I really want to get good at this. Like this is something I could do. And so I found a couple friends who also didn't play the game, and convinced them. They weren't quite as on the same level until they watched the documentary, just like myself. And eventually there was about 4 of us, and we would just scour old Smashboards threads despite the decline recently, and learn advanced techniques the best we could, and just kind of play each other. And we all got pretty good, but I was the only one throughout high school that kept on playing it. And then I went to college, and I was never much of a tournament player. I just kind of like playing it, like, quote unquote high level Melee with my friends, just because it's a really satisfying game to play. But I'm not one to compete. And when I went to college, I would enter like smaller tournaments for the university, do okay, 2-2 kind of bracket things. But like, I don't know, I wasn't really a part of the community, if you would. Like, I never went to tournaments. I watched all the streams, but I was kind of a, stream monster. Not quite to the level of a lot of Twitch chatters, but so throughout college I would play. I got okay. Then Netplay came out, and Melee became kind of my like my brain off. I'm listening to podcasts, but I'll just play Melee in the background kind of thing. And then I guess my origins as like a member of the community, if you would, is I would watch Brandon stream a lot, right? And I, in my spare time throughout high school and college, I guess I should, with context, I would do like Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator in my spare time just because it was enjoyable for me. And he was needing like a new Twitch avatar, and I was just kind of fiddling about in Photoshop. And so I made him, I think you still have it, right, Brandon? The NBA Falco logo?
Oh, yep.
Yep, made him that. And I guess you could say that was like my first contribution to the community in any sort of shape or form. And then a while passes, and Brandon had a sponsor I don't remember the name of, and he asked me, because I had made him the avatar, if I could make him a layout, and I was like, sure, yeah, of course. And I made that, and then time passes. He approaches me with making a logo for what we now know as Rollback Rumble, initially Rona Rumble. And I was like, oh, yeah, sounds dope. I love doing graphic stuff, and I'm recently graduating from college, and I don't want to use my degree. I'd rather do something I enjoy, which is, visuals and art and all that fun stuff. So I will try to make it work through this. And so, yeah, started designing all the visuals and tournament layouts that you see today, and hopefully in the future.
Really cool.
Yeah.
That is about the most
And I
eloquently
still
summed
kind of
up
suck at Melee, but
the most eloquently summed up Melee story
Yeah.
I think I've heard yet on this podcast. That's a
that's
lot
all
of
right.
feels like a lot of pressure for
Contribute
everybody
where
else.
you can.
I wanted to also make it clear to people who are listening, for you, Shiggles, the commissions are open, right? You are a person who is ready to do some other art commissions for other people, should they be interested. Oh, then you are muted for a little bit, but that's okay. We can get back to that. Jayde, I want to move on to you next, if you don't mind telling a little bit of how Melee came to be part of your life.
Yeah, I'm down. Okay. Basically, I got into like TOing and playing Melee at the same time in my life, which is about like 5.5 years ago. Never really had exposure to Smash until I went to college, and I was a freshman, and I was like, don't know what I'm going to do. And I lived like 1 or 2 doors down from the former Smash Lounge where people just stayed all day and played as much Smash as they could. And of course, naturally, I started making friends there. Always been a bit of a gamer. Um, and it was the sort of thing where, like, yeah, I'm playing casually. Haven't played this before. It's pretty fun. I'm a Kirby main, It was great. And then it was the sort of thing where the president of the Smash scene slash club at the time was like, I'm not going to be president next year. We need people to step up. And, it's the whole thing of like, well, everyone wants tournaments, but no one wants to host them. And, like, I guess the whole notion of like, if I don't do it, who will, was sort of got me into TOing, and also like still is part of like my TOing ethos to this day. So yeah, I stepped up. I started TOing, and it was a sort of thing where like at the time I was like thinking about getting more serious about competing. And I've always like been a little bit serious about competing, but it was the sort of thing where the amount of time I like devote to TOing in like the 3 4ish years I ran like the college scene at my college, and playing, it was like I have to make a decision here. I have to prioritize. And I chose TOing. So yeah, I did that for a while. Haven't Still to this day haven't been able to play or TO an out of region tournament just because, like college kid for like what, 5 years, and like yeah, like I don't have funds to go to like these really cool like out of region like majors and everything. But you know what? I'll just host my own tournament so I don't need to pay venue fee then. But yeah, I mean, I just I it's really hard for me to summarize it because really it's just like I started TOing, fell in love with it. I love TOing and I still do it. It's about it.
But what keeps you, or well, maybe the why is a little bit hard to answer, but I'm sure that for all the fun parts of it, there are also things that are not as fun, having to deal with expectations not being met. We can just put it that way. But
Mhm.
through the ins and outs of it, what would you say is a particular part of TOing that you really enjoy that keeps you doing it?
Oh, I like this question. So there were a lot of like little things that keep me going. Like I love working in a team. I love like making really cool stuff happen, you know? But if I had to pick one, it would be there's this really distinct feeling, at least to me, um, when you're TOing a LAN tournament and it's like, like regional or bigger size. And I mentioned that because it's like the time and like work you've put into like a bigger scale tournament. And it's the feeling you get during grand finals of top eight when like it's almost over, like, oh my god. And you get this feeling of just it's a mixture where it's disbelief of like, wait, no way we pulled this off. No way we pulled this off and like have it like good, Of like immense love, like, oh my gosh, like teamwork, like we did this, let's go. And just like pride. Like, you know what? Yeah, we did do that. Yeah, go team. And for me, it's such a distinct feeling and like it keeps me going. Like that's the TO high for me. And I ride the TO high like for months after that.
That's really, really cool to hear that you really feel that sense of accomplishment of going, I've spent a decent amount of time planning this and going through the day. If it was a before the pandemic doing an IRL tournament, or even now in the online era, all the preparation, all the work that happens during the day of the tournament itself, the stream, everything else, and then top eight happens, or any really cool moment happens throughout the tournament. You're like, I had a part in facilitating that. That feeling really resonates with you and keeps you going and excited to do the next tournament after that and so on. It sounds like.
Yeah, the funny part is, um, the feeling is what I can remember distinctly, but like I can't remember the exact moments of it, like in my past, because at that stage you're just so tired and so sleep deprived that it like adds to that like floaty feeling of just like, whoa, we actually did this. But yeah, the feeling keeps me going.
And I'll pass it to you, Brandon. You have done enough of these that you probably, well, hopefully, are not super tired of telling your origin story for Melee. But as long as you want to spend on it, please, by all means, feel free to talk about when you first started to get into Melee.
Oh man, I think my story is probably a little different than theirs, especially because the time I got into Melee, just society as a whole is just different as opposed to how it is in like 2014 2015. I got into Melee around 2006, and back then we just didn't have like the forms of like the forms of social media that we have. Just a lot of like smartphones were like kind of a thing, but not really. There was just like an iPhone and the Razor. It was like right before like tech boom, and is when I got into it. And so how I got into it was there's a smasher. His name is Park. It's my friend Jamie, one of my best friends. We grew up together. I've known him since I was like 10, 11 years old. And he was like diehard about the game. So when it first, mind you, we're like neighbors essentially. So he lived across the street from me. So we always just hung out and stuff. And we would it wasn't just Melee we'd play. Like we'd play like Madden, Halo, whatever was out. Just typical kid stuff, right? But I remember he got Melee and he was so excited about it. And then we played. And at first I didn't think nothing of it. Like the first couple of years, because he got it when it first came out. I played it. First character I ever seen was Jigglypuff in that game. I used to always, as a kid, play 64 teams by myself and put 3 computers, and I would like do like the story mode. I would have like Pikachu and Puff versus the Mario Brothers, and I would just do dumb stuff like that. But I never like knew of the idea of like competition at all. Just back then too, it was just tournaments were harder to come by. Like if you really didn't know anyone, it was just like hard to find your way type of thing. And so he'd play, and then we found out about Smash boards, and then he was on that. I still, like I said, was kind of like just doing my own thing. Also, that's how I found out about YouTube. First video I ever saw on YouTube was a Smash video. It was a Fumi, the Yoshi player. This was super long ago. Anyway, we play, and then I always played with him as a means to just be like the practice dummy. I'm like, all right, look, bro, like I'm not really doing much, and you're here trying to be like, he was trying to compete, right? And yeah, he made Yoshi, and I was like, I'll help you, we'll do it. Like, well, hopefully you can get to where you need to get to. And then the first thing that kind of gave me the realization of competing was he was like, okay, I think Yoshi beats Falcon. By the way, that's just cap. That's not true. Anyway, we didn't know that back then. So he's like, yo, I think Yoshi beats Falcon. Can you go Falcon to try it out? I was like, yeah, I always played whoever. Just if he needed practice, I'd do that. And I'm just like beating him pretty bad. And then that was the first time it really it dawned on me, because prior I never really beat him. Granted, the matchup's bad, but I was like, damn, maybe I'm okay at the game, right? So, time goes by, and then we compete. We go to our first tournament. It's at this place called the Gaming Edge, or Gamer's Edge. If anybody who's ever, all the old school Valley 209 people know what I'm talking about. If you're an old school player, you know this. So we go to the Gaming Edge, right? Oh, speaking of that, I forgot to point this out. Shout out to Andre Choknader. We went to high school together, and one time we all played, and Andre just destroyed us without even trying. Andre Choknader, and that was also a big glimpse of the competitive scene, because he was doing short hop lasers and down airs, and I didn't know that was possible. I was like, yo, he's doing stuff that I thought he was TAS in the game or something. It was crazy. Anyway, fast forward, go to our first tournament. I have to play this guy named Oni. Shouts to Oni. I don't know wherever you are. He was the best player in Turlock at the time. Turlock, California. It's where Colin Kaepernick's from. So, he got 5th at that tournament. It was 100-something people. Or at least that's what it felt like to me. I could be wrong. It could be 60 or whatever. But at the time, that was fucking gigantic. And at that time, this is before Brawl, too. So this is Melee at this time was the current Smash game. So, I lose to him, and then I have to play my friend Park. I was like, well, damn. And I lose to him, too, and I go 0-2. And, that happened for quite a bit. But like I said, when I was competing, I didn't really think much of it. I was just playing because I liked the game a lot. It was something to do. And, I was just kind of using myself. Maybe I just justified my competing through that way, but I always used myself as just, a vessel to help my friends get better. That was, the initial goal. And then I started, beating players and getting really good. And then I moved. I left Modesto for school, and I was getting kind of decent. And that's when I lived next to Phil. And then, it kind of worked out because we were really close, to each other driving wise, and we were at very similar skill levels. So we would just play every day, damn near, every day. And you know, and also Daryl would come along. This is when Daryl was still like, Daryl's like a year younger than me, but he was like 16, 17. He was like a year and a half younger than me. And we would all just play. And then out of nowhere, like, we all just got this, like, resurgence of, like, we just got better. And, like, we also met, you know, Alan and the Juan Shroomed, and, like, all of us would play all the time, like, because we were all in that same region, and then everybody was just out of nowhere, like, just getting better. And then that's kind of how it started for me. I guess if you want me to go into, like, how I got, like, known as a player or a commentator and stuff like that, the videos and stuff, I was doing that in high school initially. I would record Melee videos. And then I did some Brawl, because Brawl had just came out. You couldn't, like, not do it. And then this is back before, like, capture cards were good and they had the software that you needed it to have. And since I didn't have a laptop, I'd have to get, like, a VHS, record the shit through VHS, right? Then re-watch everything on, like, because I would put it from the VCR to the capture card, capture it after the fact, splice it up into videos, and then upload it. Eventually, I got a laptop, and eventually, capture cards got better enough to where I can just record off the laptop. But the initial thing was the VCR thing. I was probably like 16 when I started doing that, and then I got put on from just, you know, uploading a bunch of videos. And then Phil was like, he knew a lot of the top players, right? And so, you know, we would go to, like, hang with DBR and play them, and, like, him and Mango were really cool. This was, like, when Mango first started winning. Like, I don't even think Mango was considered one of the best in the world at that time. Mango was still, like, a decent player. That's how long they know each other. And then Mango would come over to my place, and then we would all play, and then, like, those videos kind of just, I mean, we didn't think nothing of it at the time, and we would just upload it because it was just, like, so many dope matches happening that we didn't realize how many people were watching West Coast Melee, and it just kind of, like, spiraled. And I think when Mango traveled, because, like I said, I don't think any of us knew how good he was. Like, we knew he was, like, one of the best players, obviously, but we didn't know, like, how good. And then I think when Mango started winning stuff, it, like, put a lot of attention on us also, because then it was like, damn, like, what's going on over there out west? Like, people just didn't know. I think for a long time, people didn't know how good the West was until Mango went out there. And then I think watching him made people watch everybody else, and then including us on the commentary. And then how I got on commentary was mainly because no one wanted to do it, and I was trying to find people to do it. I was just wanted to be the recording guy, and then you know, it'd be that, but no one wanted to do it, so I did it. And then Phil and Daryl would help me because they just didn't want me to do it by myself. With shout outs to Phil for that, especially Phil. And then, yeah, that's how the commentary started initially. And then I think over time, people just wanted us to keep doing it. Playing wise, I got better in NorCal. And then the first ranked player I ever beat was Zelgadis. And then after that, I had at this tournament, it was Mango's tournament. It was called Mango Juice. And I think that was like the first time I ever like did really good at an event. At the time, I beat Forward, and Forward was like easy top 15, top 20 at that time. Maybe even top 10 at that time. He outplaced me though, but I still won the set. And I played a player named Knives who was like also in that top 50-ish realm, and I beat him. And then Bob Money, who was like the best doc at the time, I beat him in the Ditto. and that kind of put me on as a player, I think. And then from there, I would like, you know, be somewhat of a threat. I mean, I wasn't like the best, but I would like. I think Genesis 2, I made the final bracket, which was crazy because it was like 3 rounds of pools, just like some of the hardest pools I've ever seen. I remember my round 3 pool was 2 of the people got top 3. Taj and Armada were in my round 3 pool. And then that I think that Mango Juice tournament was really what put me on as a player. And then just locally, outside of like SFAT, Pew Pew U, and Shroom, and like maybe Lord, there was like a 5-6 year period, baby, where I was like the number 4. I was probably the only one at one point, not all the time, that could just like kind of hang with them, and they kind of held that. I mean, even to this day, like they're like the best in our region. But before like a lot of the new era came, that was that's kind of how it was. If you look at those old PRs, you'll see me like 4th, 5th, and half of them, like just off of that, and until like, you know, like the Rockies and the Sparks and all of them start coming around, Ladandis too, like that's how that happened though, like as me playing, and just kind of being decent, getting good wins here and there. And then with TOing, that came last. That came not that long ago. It was like, I'd say like 3-4 years ago. There's a tournament called the Made. And I guess I could use this to segue into Rollback Rumble. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but basically,
no, that's great.
So the Made, it got shut down because of COVID, unfortunately. But they always had these locals. And every Friday except the first Friday of the month, because there's this big festival out here called First Friday in Oakland, and basically we'd have a weekly, and no one could find a consistent TO, and basically they were like, well, we're just gonna have to cancel the event because no one can host it. And then you know, a lot of the old hosts, they would just host it, leave, stay there for a little bit, leave, right? And I was like, you know, I'll host it, and I'll try to just really put my foot forward to make it like a good event. And so I would host, and then I really wanted to like fly players out to build hype around the event, and we would do that, and it would work. And then that's when I started working with Jayde. Like I think a lot of people think that we started working together in quarantine, which we had been TOing tournaments together at least a few years before COVID. So, like, you know, we would host Made, like we called it the Made Remix, where, you know, we'd fly players out. And then we did the Wombo Combo 10th anniversary, which was it was the day Ultimate came out, or the day before or after. It was one of those days. I just remember it was like that weekend of Ultimate dropping. And, you know, we did a decent job. And, I mean, from there, you know, obviously COVID happened. And then initially I named the tournament, well, like the Made Online, because I like, obviously none of us knew what was going to happen with COVID. What would it turn into? We didn't think that we'd be inside for so long. So I was like, okay, you know, we'll do Made Online, and then, you know, hopefully a couple months comes back. Obviously everything gets worse. Everything goes to shit. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to use the Maid's name if we, you know, if we're just going to do this full-fledged. So I named it Rona Rumble because it was the virus, right? And then, you know, it kept going. And then that's why, like, I was hitting shiggles too. Time goes by. And then I changed the name because, you know, obviously, like I said, when I named it, millions of people hadn't died yet. And we still didn't understand what it was. I don't even think like hard COVID laws or like, you know, like quarantine and stuff was a thing yet. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna change the name because, you know, it's just a sensitive topic, and to call it that, I was like, nah. So changed it to Rollback Rumble, and that's when Rollback dropped also. So it was like like a double reason for me to change it. And then I guess ever since then we just been rocking, and we're here now. Sorry if that was long-winded, my little origin story, but I guess for me it's just different because, like I said, like it's just so far back. We're talking like almost half my life at this point is playing Melee or being involved in it in some way. So.
One of the cool things that I heard when you were first talking about playing with Park and just saying, yeah, I'll play as whoever so that you can practice, you can get better. That already spoke to the way that you were wanting to help others around you. And I still think that that's something that is really important to you to this day. Like, we don't know each other. This is the first time we've actually that we have talked over Discord or what have you, other than messages. And I still get that impression from you that you care for the people around you. You want to be helpful, and running Rollback Rumble with everybody else on your team is such a cool thing.
Yeah,
and
I appreciate
really cool that I get to hear about. That the listeners get to hear about, like sort of how that has just woven through where you're going. I want to help with making all of this. There's so many cool matches happening. Somebody's got to record, and then at the Made, this is a really cool event, and I can see how it can be better. I can see how I might be able to make this more fun for those who are going. And I was really hoping you would shout out the Made. I heard that in your interview with Deer. Shout outs to Deer for one of the, I think it was for GMO Spring or GMO Winter, that Deer had you on for an interview, and you had spoken a little bit about the Made at that point.
Right.
Really cool to hear about how you didn't start with TOing in the online sense. So I did know that vaguely, but I wasn't sure if Jayde had hopped on that early or not. It was really cool that you were saying just now how Jayde was helping out with running stuff Made Remix. So I'll just push it to you, Jayde. How did you first come to meet Brandon and say, hey, I can help out with things because I'm doing my stuff over here too?
Ooh, I believe it was Wombo Combo 10th anniversary. That was the first tournament we did together. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon.
I low-key think it was it the Made first?
The first Raid remix?
I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I mean, even then, like, we would, like, kind of, like, you would come to Made and help out every now and then. This is just, like, random local Maids, like that. And then, I necessarily wouldn't help out with Gator games or nothing like that, but I would, like, bring setups and stuff, just, try to get people to come. But we I guess when we start, like, officially, I guess it was Wombo Combo. I can't remember if Wombo Combo was before Made Remix. I think it was. I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
I'm down to run with Wombo Combo 10th anniversary. But yeah, I think that kind of fell into place because, like, you were at the Gator Games monthly, the monthly at my college scene that I ran, and I was like, oh yeah, your big event's coming up, and you were like, yeah, I'm getting, like, so many setups in NorCal, like, so many setups, and I was like, do you have anyone helping you? And you were like, not really. And I said, ooh, I have to help. And then we did the thing. It was probably my first, I guess, like, large-scale regional outside of, like, my college scene that I got to, like, help out with. And it was a lot of fun, honestly. I still think of Wombo Combo 10th anniversary as, like, one of my best and also one of my favorite tournaments.
Yeah, it went really well. It went pretty well. This idea, I really hope they do this at majors. So I had this idea, right? Because everyone, first, if you've been to a major in any capacity or even just a regional, sometimes it's hard to understand what is where. You might know based off of, okay, Ultimate's here, Melee's here, right? But as far as that goes, you still are kind of confused on where to be. So what we did was I made these like handcrafted flags, right? And I put the colors of it was red, blue, and yellow, right? I would put red flags in one part of the building, blue flags in another part, yellow flags in another part. And then we gave people, depending on their pool, a wristband. So they would get red and blue wristbands. Yellow meant friendlies. So anybody that had a wristband and they wanted to know when their pool was or where it is, you look at your wristband and then it'll tell you. And that was how we did that. And I felt like it was efficient because nobody asked me where their pool was because they just looked at it. I got one, and that was just Toucan, low-key being Toucan. But usually that question happens all the time, and like no one ever came up. At least I don't know about you, Jayde, but no one came up to me and was like, "Do you know what time this pool starts or where it is?" Blah blah blah. Like everybody just kind of knew, and
Ooh.
yeah.
Well, so I gave them their pool time when I put the wristband on their wrists.
Yeah.
So they better not have come to me.
Right. And it was godlike, and yeah, and then we what else we ordered a bunch of pizzas for that event.
Cake.
And
we had
cake.
wombo combo.
We did, and the cake had like the firework candles, and it was just a good time. It was a good time, and it went well. There's a lot of work in that event, though. I did so much driving for that event.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like hours of driving. But yeah, that's how we met. I don't know, Jay. You could take it. I don't want to take over, but yeah, pretty much that was what happened with the Wombo Combo tournament.
I just wanted to add like a side note that your strategy with the flags and the wristbands, that was the like thing that made me realize, oh yeah, like Brandon's TO style and my TO style are pretty similar because I'm also like about like good tournament flow and how to make it so that players can find the things that they want so easily and like on their own, And I was like, yeah, teamwork.
Yeah, it was goated. And then go ahead.
Sorry,
go. No, you're good. You're good.
I just wanted to ask Shiggles, like, where were you in all this? Were you able to attend any of these events, or you just, because you were talking a little bit about how competition wasn't as much of your thing after a little while. Like at first you wanted to be like a better player, but then that kind of cooled off a bit. So in around this time frame of like 2018 or so, because that's when Ultimate came out. So I guess that's when Brandon and Jayde started Made Remix. Like, where were you in all this?
I guess it's an important note to make that they're in California and I'm in Texas.
Yes.
This is true. Yeah.
Regionally, that wasn't going to happen. And I don't know. It would have been hard to justify to a lot of people in my life, like, hey, I'm going to go, take a plane ticket to a tournament full of people where I know no one really, like, and I didn't have that many like close Smash friends to go with me, so tournaments weren't really my scene. But tournament streams, on the other hand, that's kind of where I shone through, and that was kind of one of the driving forces for why I said yes to helping Brandon with the Rollback Rumble stuff. Is you watch some tournament streams, not all of them, but you watch some of them, and they're not great. They're kind of not. They're either boring or they don't look good. And this isn't an indictment on the Melee scene. There's plenty of Summit does wonderful things. All the majors like Genesis and Big House, but like some of my local streams were kind of rough. Some college streams were really rough, and so I just had this drive. I was like, I wish these things looked better. I wish these things flowed better, which, people like Brandon and Jayde were, innovating where other people were slumping. And, yeah, so I was nowhere near them.
Yeah, shiggles came in later, but the layouts I think really like set the tone for how our like tournament is perceived. Because like for example, even though I've had layouts in the past, like if you have a tournament, right, and I've seen tournaments like this where it's just kind of like nothing on there. There's no layout. There's no nothing. It's one thing when it's like a personal, like, yo, this is my tournament run. I think that's fine. But like when it's for a tournament, it's like confusing because you go there, you don't know who's who, what round this is, where it's at. Like you just don't know anything. And there were so many streams like that, right? And then Shiggles came on.
Net play tournaments, people were lost in the dark without any sort of light.
Right.
There's like, how do we, like, we used to do player cams. What do we do now? There's no players. It's just like usernames.
Right.
So,
and your layouts, I feel like set the tone like super crazy, and just not even just that, but the logos and the graphics. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Nate was holding the streams down in person.
Shout out to Nate.
Yeah, shout out to Nate Gallagher, fucking legend. I'd have to pick him up, grab off his equipment, set it up, everything. And shouts to Nate. And then before you came along, Shiggles, my girlfriend Mari was a legend, and she was doing a lot of the like she made the Wombo Combo design and the initial Rona Rumble stuff. She helped with that, but then like her job, it got more serious. So like when you came along, Shiggles, it was like perfect time because she couldn't really do that stuff anymore. And
Seamless.
And then you just kind of like piggybacked off that and then did your own thing with it and just like made it some other shit, man, or stuff. Whoops. I'm sorry. You just made it something else, and it's just like, yeah, from there, Shiggles got involved, and then, you know, not only at first it was kind of just like Shiggles just saying the designs like, yo, I'll ask him for XYZ, and he'd just like do it. But then it got to a point where Shiggles was just like literally just masterminding stuff, where it's just like, damn, like he'll give me something and I didn't even like ask for it, and it would just be like fire. I'm like, yo, we got to use that. So shout outs to you.
You ask for forgiveness later. Except in this case, it was just like, yeah, I'll make it. And if he says no, well, I already made it. So
yeah, usually with how me and Shiggles coordinate, I guess if you don't mind, Cypher, if I point these things out.
Absolutely.
Because with me and Shiggles, it's a lot of stuff before the event. Everything me and Shiggles are constantly talking before the event. During and after, it's usually kind of like not as much. But whereas like me and Jayde, we definitely talk before the event, but during the event is where it's like we're in constant like. During and after is like where I don't know if you guys feel this way, but it's just it's just different. Because
the grace period before a tournament,
right? Once like with how our team works is basically once the tournament starts, Shiggles is like big chilling. His job is pretty much done. Yeah. And then
nothing I can change at this point.
Yeah, then me and Jayde, we are just in the fire flames during the event, and we're trying to figure out like how everything's gonna coordinate, and then, you know, and shout outs to everybody else who also helps out. Nathan, Sandwich, Joaq. Joaq is the person for after the event. When everyone's done, that's when Joaq comes in and just like Deathstorm is Joaq. I'm sorry. He uploads like everything, and yeah, it's pretty much how our team works. But yeah, I guess
it's awesome. It is awesome to hear about how that goes, because that was going to be one of my questions of like how the machine rolls, how it works. And that's really cool to hear that there's like all the way through there's a certain amount of deliberateness, but also y'all have been working together enough now that some of it just sort of happens automatically. And something that I want to say to Brandon and Jayde, every TO that I've talked to who people respect and people say, oh, that's a great TO. That TO keeps our scene going, our region going. They always end up talking to me about keeping a tournament flowing and making sure everything's like still moving. So it's so fun to hear you two talk about that as well. That being, well, not necessarily like, oh, we have to end on time, like sort of thing, but just like that it doesn't stall. Like that's a really big deal.
I think what's cool about our team dynamic is every person has something that they bring that the other ones can't do. Like me and
I can't do TO.
me and
I'm not at the brain for it.
me and Jayde, for example, can't do the artwork that Shiggles does. We just like we can, but it would be good. And then, for example, like me and Shiggles can't do the promptness. Like Jayde is so on point every time. You'll be like, "Hey, we need XYZ done by today." 2 minutes later, okay, done. Like there's no way me and Shiggles are doing that. Just like, it'll take a while, right? And then I think with me, I guess the thing I add is just like the ability to just like showcase everything. Like I'm always the one putting myself out there on the camera, just in front of people, talking to everybody, just trying to link up with all these people. I think that's something that I probably bring, and just like my history of the game and stuff like that. But I think
you have foresight, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you see problems before. You know.
I will say I do think I have like pretty cool concepts. I'd say like with the ideas, I'll like come up with some cool idea in my head, and then Shiggles will make some art for it, and then Jayde will help me like put it together, and then it's just like damn. So we all got this thing that we're hella good at, and you know it makes the tournament. And then even with Joaq with the VODs, like he's the person I probably communicate with the least, because Joaq is just on. He just does it. I don't have to follow up with him or like. He'll be like, yeah, it's cool. It took me like 5 minutes. I'm like, damn, all right. So, you know, I like that idea. It's like, because don't get me wrong, we can probably all dabble into the stuff we do, but I think everybody specializes in their own little, you know, trait. Yeah, It's pretty cool.
And hearing y'all talk about it is awesome. And one more thing about Joaq that I'll say: those VODs come out so fast. The big props on the Rollback Rumble YouTube channel. So cool. Like the event is happening and they're coming out. Like the set just finished and the VODs come out. So that's really cool.
He's goated, bro. That's my boy.
I wanted to ask, and anyone can take this or y'all can take it and run with it, but my question is, have you ever put any thought into how this all sort of just happened? There are a lot of people who could probably be in the Rollback Rumble team doing what one of you is doing, but it happens to be the four of you, and also Nathan Sandwich and other people also contributing, volunteering. But like, does it feel like fate, or is that just another byproduct of Melee where an awesome thing happens and it just keeps Melee going? Like, have you ever put any thought into that?
I think for me, because Brandon and Jayde at least knew each other a little in person. For me, it's, you know, a little bit of column A of kind of fate, inevitability, and a little bit of column B of like that sense of Melee community. Like being in Brandon's chat and just like, okay, I'm gonna randomly post this thing I made while I was watching it, because you know that's how I pass time. And then Brandon likes it. All right, it's like, oh, cool. Streamer liked it, that's great. And then later, you know, you stick around long enough and then suddenly you're getting asked to, you know, contribute something. So in a way, fate, but like I just think, one, Brandon, and two, just Melee is a community, I won't say unlike others, but it's got a certain je ne sais quoi about like giving people ample opportunity to show off their talent, especially now with the net play era and like the democratization of being a TO and running your own tournament and like bolstering your own scene in any way possible or expanding it farther. A lot of people get the chance to showcase their talents, and like I know a lot of people who have jobs now because like really nice, super successful esports jobs, like, you know, Tafikants is a good example, or some of the Summit people, you know, it's that kind of Melee harbors a really welcoming environment for that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go, Jayde, or you want me to go.
I'm fine with going.
Okay, go for it.
I also think it's a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit more so of the like the Melee aspect of like what brings like people together, because like for me, like playing has like a special place in my heart, but TOing is like a very part of like the core of who I am, and like TOing of like having a team of people and just having really good synergy and like making some really cool stuff happen. I think like the human connection is also just like it just forms, you know?
I love it.
Yeah. I think for me it's I think it's just when people really have a common ground and a common goal, they really make things happen. And I mean, I remember just, you know, when like Brawl came out, and you know, Melee was like, that was the most dead Melee ever was, in my opinion, and like how much we like stuck together during that time, because it was just like there was nothing to benefit from playing the game at that point. You couldn't, no matter how good you were, there was no sponsor, no idea, like none of that. It's just like if you played, you just genuinely either you like playing or you cared about being the best or whatever. But your reasons always were within the confines of like just the community as a whole. You know, and I mean, I guess similar with just like dealing with like the COVID situation, like it was kind of similar in the sense of I don't think it was that bad, but it was similar in the sense of like, well, you know, all we have is online. There's no events. There's no one hosting anything. What's going on? You know, and in turn, you know, we just kind of kept going with what, you know, we're doing and try to come together, and then, you know, start something, and then, you know, it just blossomed into something great. And just fortunate enough to have people around me that just genuinely just want to help, because like I said, like a lot of the times we just, there's no like monetary gain for what we do. Even like, you know, I'll pay out all the pot bonus and stuff, and like we get $0 despite like doing like hours of work. And I feel guilty about that, you know, because obviously I want like everybody involved to just get paid, but it's also like it's cool that, you know, we have that trust in each other to know like regardless of what happens, we're just gonna stick this through. I don't know, that sense of community, especially when it's not convenient to be a community person. I think that's what's really dope about it, because like I don't think it was necessarily convenient for Jayde to help me out or Shiggles, what they did, you know, and it's really cool to see. Just blessed for real.
So cool, because that you just encapsulated it really well, Brandon. That I'm making zero off of taking the time to do this podcast, but I'm doing it because I wanted to contribute to Melee, more or less. Like it's a game that I love, and following the competitive scene is so cool. And after a while, I thought, well, shout outs to the Wannabes podcast and the Austin Melee podcast. They were really inspirational for making me say I want to do a small little part. And even though nothing may actually come out of it, it's already been awesome, because I've gotten to talk to enough people now that have been able to do so many amazing things around Melee. Just hearing stories, even that is so cool, and it gives me something that's not money, but it's pretty close in the feeling of like excitement and just that spirit of Melee that people talk about. I don't know how to phrase it. It's kind of hard to describe, but I wanted to ask about a few more topics to make sure that we keep moving here. Don't want to take up too much of your time. that
You're good. At least for me, I'm chilling. So
Yeah,
okay.
I'm hanging out.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I just didn't want to make sure, or wanted to make sure that everybody's doing all right. So with the Black Empowerment Melee Invitational, first of all, I was like popping off when I first saw that announcement, because it's not like I thought to myself there has to be something like that, or I don't know, not like I was like asking people to, hey, is anybody going to ever do something for Black History Month? But it was just so cool, Brandon, that it was you who led the charge on that and doing that event through Rollback Rumble. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on, and everybody here, Shiggles and Jayde, of course, about running that event, coming up with that event, how you think it went, the charity side of it, all of it, like however you want to tell the story of how that event came to be and how it went.
Okay, yeah. I guess it came about to me because, I knew Black History was coming up. Black History Month was coming up. Martin Luther King's birthday was coming up. We announced it on his birthday. I felt like, especially what was going on with last year, what I didn't want, because I get tired of seeing like, don't get me wrong, I like charity events for like just any type of situation for just any group of people that are going through anything, right? But what I just didn't want was, it to happen and be based off of tragedy. It's just so many times where I see, something happening to a Black person, everybody feel bad, and then we're like, yo, let's just do this event for charity for this, and I didn't want that. I wanted something that embraced Black people without somebody having to die for it or whatever, And I thought, this is probably gonna be like challenging in the sense of just like, I know how people's colors are gonna come out, literally, when you put something out here like this. But I also at the same time I felt like it needed to be done. Just being like a Black person in this community, although I love the Melee community, is still not, it's different, and I think I feel like every Black player has had like that type of experience. I also feel like that like Blackness is a spectrum, and I felt like this event would show that. I think people have an idea of what they think a Black person is, whether it be a stereotype or whatever, and then they go off that assumption. And you have Black people from literally all walks and paths of life that the common denominator, the common theme, I guess, is that we are all Black, but we're all our own individuals and we're all different people. And that in itself is a blessing on top of just what we have in common. And I wanted to showcase that, or at least attempt to. And Jayde and Shiggles were both like super down to just help in that regard. I'm definitely grateful for that. I knew it would be something that would probably be a little challenging though, just given the fact of, like I said, just what's been going on this year and whatnot, or last year too, especially, and just I just wanted something to be, at least within Melee, because I feel like it never happened. Just something that is just for like the Black community. I feel like we're a very small group within the Melee community, but we influence a lot in a lot of ways. And I felt like we should have something to embrace each other, just off the fact that we're here and we still exist, and not because Black dude gets killed on camera, let's feel bad about it and donate. I just like, as much as like I fuck with the concept of doing like giving to charity and stuff, I just hate that it's done off of somebody else's like little blood, sweat, and tears, like so I just wanted something that highlighted like history and just
something uplifting.
Yeah,
Instead of, have this air of kind of sadness and anger.
Yeah, man, it's just like I get tired. I mean, even growing up, just Obviously, like this one dude I knew, he got killed at 16. Went to the funeral, and shit was like changed my perspective, just low key. But I realized how everyone came together for this situation. Everybody's doing car washes and stuff like that. But it's just like, man, like if we had this type of unity before, then I feel like we could possibly prevent things like that from even happening in the first place. Not saying that's why they happen, but it's more just like, I just think it would help. So just having an outlet that's just from a good vibe. But that's how it came about. And then the execution of the event, we announced it. I think it got a big reaction because people thought it was for Ultimate initially. I really do think that because we had Ultimate players in the event, I think because they thought it was for Ultimate, the reaction blew up bigger than it would have if it was just announced that, or if it was just deemed as a Melee event. But yeah, we got a heavy reaction, a mixed reaction. But I mean, it worked out well. I think the reactions kind of proved my point on why something like that needed to happen in the first place. But not everybody agrees. So, but for the event itself, though, the event went super smooth. It was like a stressful first couple days, but it was it still went okay. It went okay, but it was a lot. It was a lot to do.
It was a doozy to prep.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, we did a lot. And I think from Bimmy too, especially because we had way less time than we did with this tournament coming up. So it was just like we were scrambling. Like we had about maybe a month, couple weeks or something. Yeah, but I mean it was still enough time, but it was just like, man, it was just like it's so much more brutal than, and I think that helped me with the big win because I'm like, all right, man, like we need more time because that shit was. Whew. I mean, I knew we were doing a lot, but it was just stressful. it was stressful, but we managed to do it, and I thought it went well. Even just the stream was cool, like the chat, everybody was just embracing like that particular moment, and yeah, I liked how it went. At least I don't know about how you guys feel, but
oh yeah, I think we pulled it off, and it went very well.
Yeah, I think it was good. It was cool to see everybody enjoying the games, and it was a day of the Super Bowl too, the last day. And at first I was skeptical, but everybody was like, no one cared. They're like, yo, fuck the Super Bowl, forget the Super Bowl. We could just watch this, and it was a good feeling.
And
no one cares about Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, I'll let you go, Shiggles. Sorry about that.
I was just making a Tom Brady joke. It's all right.
Oh yeah. But from my own perspective, it was really cool to see something like that happen and to do the my version of supporting, which is like I've already told you this, Brandon, or I guess I make it known. Twitch Prime dropping on the Waffle 77, twitch.tv/the Waffle 77, but. I was really excited that sort of event was going to happen when it was first announced, and seeing that there was a willingness from everyone that you had asked to participate, Ultimate players as well, that they were willing to help out, to participate, just to show support. I felt like from the people who mattered within the community that they were supportive as well, like the people who in the community that are actual great human beings. We're excited to see this happen, and I'm so happy that it happened. And it reminded me, and when thinking about doing this with y'all tonight, I was thinking about how many events were at the BEMI, the BEMI 2021. It wasn't just singles. There was also volleyball and everything else that was happening. So yeah, having only a few weeks or like a month to prepare for it sounds sounds like a lot. I'm glad you all were able to make it through. But that was going to be the way that I was going to lead into the big one, which is happening here at the beginning of July, is if Bemi had any sort of role in serving, okay, the next time we run a multi-day, like almost week-long event, we may or may not want more time to prepare. And you already touched on that, Brandon. But I guess for preparing for the big one, as it looks now, like how's it going? What are you excited about? That all that kind of stuff. And I guess I should start with Shiggles because I guess that's stuff that you're working on real heavy right now, right?
Oh yeah. It's going well. I don't want to spoil it too much.
Oh yeah,
kinda,
no means.
But
Don't
in
spoil.
terms of events, but the volume is high, but it's you establish a workflow, you get through it. Whereas Bimmy, right, we only had a month, so there's things we had to cut back on. Like an easy example is social media. It's like we didn't have a banner for everything. We didn't have like a nice accompanying picture to go with a post. It's something that like now we have the foresight of like, oh, we can plan for this and make like 15 different graphics explaining various different things so people have something pretty to look at and they'll want to click on our Smash GG page and want to join. Or like I am now able to make the layout a little more advanced and try and incorporate things that we previously didn't really have time to like, figure out and smoothen out the experience a little. So yeah, progress on it's going great. I think it's the coolest thing I've done yet in terms of visuals. I'm excited for people to see it. I hope people like it, and I hope it works. And I hope it doesn't like, sour the experience, although I don't know why it would, But I guess I myself am one of those people that's kind of critical of, visuals, but I don't know how many people like me are out there. But yeah. Also, we have the luxury of having meetings, like regular meetings where we can check in with each other instead of like piecemeal communication where I'll talk with Brandon and then Brandon will talk with Jayde and then Jayde will talk to me. And then instead of like a triangle, we can all sit together and be like, all right, team, like what do we need to get done? What's on the docket? And so that's a luxury compared to the rush that we were in last time. But yeah.
Yeah, the natural evolution process. That's really cool to hear. And Brandon, you were able to talk about this on Radio Melee, your appearance on Radio Melee with Toph and PPMD, which was really cool to hear. So in fairness to Jayde, I wanted to ask this question to you specifically. Are you going to be like up all night, like the weekend where it's not just a European bracket and an North American bracket, but also is it Central Asia or Eastern Asia bracket? Like, in other words, it's going to be like a whole 24-hour thing. That's what Brandon was talking about on Radio Melee. But for you, is that like going to be an all-night thing, or do you have other people that'll step in like the early morning hours?
Oh, you're talking to Jayde, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was to Brandon.
My bad.
Ooh, so it's funny you mentioned the sleep thing. Because what one of the biggest lessons I'm taking from Bemi into the big one is that like through all my years of TOing, I am someone who will tell people to get sleep, but I won't get sleep myself because someone has to do the work. And Bemi taught me that sometimes I need sleep. So
Let's go.
Yeah, like progress, growth. So I'm definitely not going to stay up for the entirety of like the 60-hour stretch of the final 2 days, especially because like the Friday's my birthday, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to TO after we finish NA pools and like 12 hours of just pools. Don't know about the Saturday night. I might. We'll see. Depends on our capacity. But yeah, lessons learned. Definitely not going to be up the entire time. No.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, Jayde is the Omega. Not we're both kind of like that, but
oh yeah,
there's times where I'm like for Bimmy, I'm like, Jayde, like you're good. I got this. Like, just you've been up for like 40 hours. Just you're good. I'll be fine for like 3 hours by myself. Don't worry about it. So
meanwhile, I'm getting a wonderful 7 hours of sleep.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Bimmy, not even just Bimmy, but I remember the first SCL we did. That was like when Rollback just dropped.
Ooh.
Yeah, we kind of had a similar. That one we scrambled even more because it was just so many people, and we didn't have the scheduling structured the way we did. So like back then, we tried to do everything in one day, and it was just chaos. I mean, we ended up doing it on time, but it was still just like, yo, we were just drained. So
was this the LACS?
I think so. I think it wasn't SCO. It was LACS. I think you're right.
Oh, like the October one where we did like a weekend. We had Is this the one where we had 300 entrants on Sunday and 500 on Saturday?
Yeah.
We got like single digit numbers of sleep combined.
Yeah. I slept like 2 hours like the whole weekend because I had to do that, the streaming. I commentated some of it, then I had to reseed the bracket, and that was before we had like Smash EG figured out. So Jayde had to make this spreadsheet, and then I would like individually put each name in each bracket. It took forever. It took forever, but we got a whole system for that now. That's just like, that's just trial and error. Just of us not knowing what to do, especially because back then quarantine still was like not established yet. I remember before no one was really doing East and West pools. I feel like we kind of put that on the map because back then it was just kind of like, yo, just whoever plays whoever, and it was just chaotic, but somehow we got through it. I think for the big one, we're definitely going to sleep. That is for sure. We're going to have people on deck specifically for overnight stuff, so we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, scheduling is like a big thing of mine that I'm trying to master because I want the viewer to have a good experience, obviously, but I want the players to not have to wait hours to play their match and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what we're working on. I forgot what you initially asked, Cypher. Because you asked me, Jay.
It was just more or less like the process of preparing for the big one and what it was like to sort of learn lessons along the way. And I think y'all covered that great. And despite all of that, despite the fact that like when Rollback first dropped and you couldn't even choose the stage, you just had to keep choosing random over and over again until you got the right counter pick. Oof. Y'all stuck with that.
There was no broadcast mode, so that was a battle of which player is gonna Discord stream their match. There was just so many elements that now make it so much easier. And shout outs to Fizzy and the Slippy team too, by the way. There's just so many elements that make this process easier now. As long as we just follow through with what we've done, like, we shouldn't have much of a problem. But we're preparing. We're even preparing for like worst case scenarios. Like if like my power goes out or something, like what are we gonna do? Like, we're trying to cover all that so everybody can get a good experience. So at least that's the plan.
And the good news is that you've already been planning this for a little while. It sounds like it's the middle of May, so it's not around the corner just yet. Well, I mean, it'll feel like that at a certain point. It'll be like it's the middle of June. But right. It sounds like as each event goes on, as things start to smooth out, y'all continue to evolve and power up, that you'll be able to run this event and be able to sleep. Let's go. Yeah. So I'm really excited to be able to watch that myself, and it'll all be on on twitch.tv/thewaffle77, or do you think that BTS Smash gets involved at all? I think for the SCL qualifier that Rollback Rumble ran, was it on BTS Smash at all?
Nah,
Or
it was on Waffle 77. It probably will be on my channel, but we're still working like with other channels to get it all sorted out on how it's gonna work. But yeah, I think the main stuff will definitely just probably be on my channel, and we're gonna have side streams and stuff. I think the biggest thing, knowing like with preparation, if you know me, I'm really big on getting everything done now. So come July, we don't have to worry about it. It's even like with Bimmy, even though we had a month, we probably did everything in about like that first week of announcing. That's when we just went crazy, and then we got time to chill. So, you know, I'm a huge advocate of getting things done early, just because, you know, we don't have to scramble come July. So, like, we've been like, it's good that we got this interview, because behind the scenes we've been like doing, like Shiggles said, the meetings and stuff, and like right now we've been really proactive. So like come even before June, we'll have like a lot of our questions figured out. We'll have everything set up to where it's just a matter of just turning the stream on and going. So yeah,
I love it. And I wanted to ask beyond that, which it's probably hard to think a little bit more. It's hard to think more than just the occasional thought of, oh yeah, there will be things to plan after that. But with the fact that everyone is starting to look around and go, are we starting to do IRL events again? Question mark. And thankfully, vaccine's been able to go through the U.S. in particular, and more people are getting vaccinated and whatnot, that some places have started to do IRL events already, and there's all kinds of questions related to that. But the question that I have is mainly what you might be thinking in regards to a possible return of Rollback Rumble, or whatever name it might have. That, do you think that 2021 is the end of 2021, or the next year, the year after that, like when this operation will eventually make its way to in person, or is it even hard to think about that right now?
Oh, that's a good question. For me personally, I'm kind of on that bandwagon of we should just do it next year type of thing. However, I am about trying to get something going with Rollback Rumble in person. All
right, we call it real life Rumble.
Yeah, or something something that ties it. Like we do the classic Rollback Rumble, and then we tie it into something in person down the line. I think would be cool too. But yeah, I mean, we definitely plan on doing something. At least for me, I just want to. I'd rather wait until like next year, when I know most people are just probably hopefully vaccinated, and we still kind of got a clear idea of what's going to happen. I feel like things are still in the air. You know, for me personally, I wouldn't want to host an event with like a lot of 50-50 scenarios as far as just like logistics of events in general. But I mean, hey, we'll see. You know, I mean, we could think of something. I definitely want to do something in person though. Gotta have Shiggles to come out there, man. You know, wherever we do an event.
I'd love to make an appearance.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm willing to just let this whole COVID stuff settle before I'm like gung ho about doing something in person. I don't know about how you feel, Jayde, but at least for me, I'm like, I just want things to kind of establish itself first, because we still don't even know like just like stuff like concerts or whatever, right? Let alone like just a video game tournament. I don't know.
Yeah, like I won't be hosting LAN tournaments anytime soon. Because personally, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of like stuff up in the air currently. That I'm more than happy to just wait and put all of my brain cells into the big one. You know, because like nowadays it's all I can focus on.
Let's go, Jayde.
Super fair, and I love hearing the answer that from all of you, that more or less that it's one to continue to be cautious and not immediately say, all right, well, I guess we can just do stuff now. Let's just go ahead and do it. That there's still a level of caution that you want to have, and to continue to be mindful about, just because everybody or most people are starting to get vaccinated and everything else like that. It's like, okay, well, you don't just drop all the good safety habits that you would have spent the past year and almost and a half building up. So, not that I'm here to like approve or disapprove. It's just more of like, I'm so happy to hear more or less that there's a mindfulness to like everything that y'all approach. That I think that has come through really well in our conversation tonight. But of course, I think that a lot of people have started to get excited about the prospect of IRL events returning, and that is, of course, where a lot of the magic of Melee happens. But such a big deal to me that I want to share with y'all is how amazing the Rollback Rumbles are from my own perspective. I'm not able to watch entire tournaments through or anything myself, but from what I'm able to catch and to watch, like, it's always top notch in my mind. So take that for what it will. But it's been amazing to see that not only will you run events for the West Coast, you'll run events for the East Coast, you'll do doubles, you'll do events for South America and for Europe and for Asia and for Australia, probably. I mean, I lost track, but
Yeah, we've done Australia before.
let's go.
Yeah.
And like, that's so cool. It's so cool. Like, I don't not honestly know if, like, to the level of where Rollback Rumble is in my mind of notable online tournament series, who else does that? I feel like it's just y'all that's doing that. So that's really cool. So big shout outs to all of you for all the hard work that you've put in the entire pandemic era, where people go, is Melee dying? Like, is Melee not as popular anymore? And it's just, it's not by accident that people are still excited about Melee, that some people, I should say, are at the very least are still excited about Melee. It's because of events that are run like Rollback Rumble, that y'all are setting standards and being something that people look up to and say, I want to try to run events that are like that. So big shout outs to y'all for doing all of that. I wanted to, if you don't mind, I wanted to take a moment here to give a little surprise, to read a few comments. Well, actually, they're more like mini essays that Nathan Sandwich actually wrote. I told him about, well, actually, no, Jayde, you would have first told Nathan that y'all were recording with me tonight. I'll be having Nathan on for an interview a little bit later this week, but I asked Nathan to sort of share experiences or memories or just like sentiments about being able to contribute and volunteer for the Rollback Rumble series. So I'll just start with reading about what he had to say. So Rollback Rumble has been one of the most enjoyable, fun, life-changing, personal growth, relationship bonding, and relationship building experiences I've ever been a part of. I know my work has been voluntary for you folks for the past 8 months, but there are an infinite amount of reasons why I keep coming back and continue to support this series in any way I can. To Brandon, you're a wonderful human being, and it's inspiring seeing the dedication you have for this community. You were one of the first people I talked to at my first tournament when I was 16 at SSBM Trial 2 in 2014. Since then, you've always treated me with grace, care, consideration, and always trying to do what's best for me, but the entire Melee community as a whole. Thank you. To Shiggles, although we haven't interacted much together, you are a graphics design wizard. It's always a treat seeing what kind of design you have up your sleeve. You've got a lot ahead of you, and I look forward to seeing where your graphics design skills take you. And to Jayde, If I were to say one word to describe our relationship and working with you, it would be love. Tons and tons of love. Since the start of quarantine, it's been an unforgettable journey getting to know you. From our days of building large empires together in generals to talking and TOing with you on a daily basis, I've loved every second of it. There have been countless moments where I've felt sad, angry, depressed, or stressed about something, and you found a way to calm me down, make me smile, inspire me, and tell me that everything's going to be okay. I'm forever grateful and blessed that you believe in me, look out for me for all those things, and always try to do what's best for me or steer me in that direction. The amount of I love yous I've said, hydro homie checks we've had, and hugs I want to give you when we see each other in person again is probably large enough to fill out the entire stream queue for a super major. I'm forever grateful that you always find ways to get me involved, make me feel like I'm part of the team, and feel like I'm an honorary staff member for Rollback Rumbles and other tournaments we TO together. You're an incredible TO, inspiration, and friend. I'm blessed that you've taken me under your wing throughout quarantine. Melee would not be the same without you. Your presence is one of the reasons I keep going. Cheers to more memories, TOing tournaments, and life journeys together. Heart emoji. Is this good? Let me know if you need me to do a grammar check. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Let's go.
What a
man.
great,
Shouts to Nathan,
such
man.
great words from Nathan.
Yeah,
I'll just
let's go.
let
Shouts to
you
Nathan.
talk a little bit back.
The GOAT, Nathan.
Yeah, that's love, man. Appreciate it, Nathan, if you're listening. Definitely appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, Nathan's a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Great words from Nathan. Absolutely. I wanted him to sort of help a little bit because I had learned that Nathan's been helping out with Rollback Rumble as well, and we'd already given him a shout out earlier, but I had asked him if I'd be able to read this, and he was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I was like, cool. That to me is just a small example. What I've said, the better things that Nathan said are why I feel like for those in the Melee community who know and care, like really care about what y'all are doing with Rollback Rumble. So yeah, the big thank you, big shout outs, all that kind of stuff. To sort of wrap it up or get in that direction, I just wanted to give each of you an opportunity, and we can start with you, Shiggles, to sort of share what your closing thoughts are and where the people can find you and if the commissions are open or if they're not, that sort of thing. So we'll start with you, Shiggles.
Commissions are open.
Let's go.
I don't know. I'm just really excited. I like being a part of a team, and I like, the selfish part of me likes seeing things that I make be viewed by, thousands or hundreds of people. So that is such a cool feeling that otherwise I probably wouldn't get an easy opportunity to do, and I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about Melee. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a community that kind of harbors growth in a lot of its members. So, I don't know. I just love the people. There's some bad apples here and there, but damn, do I love most of the people. Rollback Rumble is sick. Thanks, Fizzy. You can find me on Twitter, I guess, at Shig, SHIG_bot, BOT. Commissions are open. If you need tournament layouts, logos, any sort of graphic wizardry, as Nathan so lovingly put it, yeah, I can help. I got time. I'm just some 20-something who graduated and has that, identity crisis of finding a job. So if I could do graphic design, well, that'd be amazing. So yeah, thanks.
And shout outs to like the logo that you did for Raise the Bar Lancaster out here in the Central PA area. Jay Bobiston or Jesse would have had you do that a while back, so that was super cool. And it's fun to go. Oh wait, Shiggles did that. Oh, let's go. So and I might need I'm gonna need a season 3 new logo at some point. So I'll probably have to hit you up for that.
I'm already. I guess it's more or less a secret. I'm helping Will with the wannabes right now, so
let's go. Shout out wannabes. I love that.
Those guys.
And Jayde, if you wanted to tell the people where they can find you and closing thoughts.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was still emotional from Nathan's words. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need another? Did you need
Oh, I'm
another?
good.
moment?
I'm good. I got
Okay.
it. But thank you. Can I have the prompt again, please? I'm sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure that you could offer closing thoughts and just try to anything that else you want to add, and also where the people can find you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. The people can find me on Twitter. I'm the most active on there. My handle is they them. Them is spelled like femme, but instead it's THEMME. And I guess closing thoughts. Be the change you want to see. If you have ever thought about TOing, you absolutely should give it a try because it's a lot of fun, and just the feeling of teamwork is really cool. And I had a thought. I'm sorry. I had a thought. Oh, yes. Also, I love TOing. I love TOing a lot of stuff. Uh, as in I'm a TO for hire. You absolutely should hit me up to run your brackets because I I will definitely do that. I will run your brackets and I will do it well. Yeah, that's about it.
And I'll turn it over to you, Brandon. Closing thoughts and where the people can find you.
Man, thank you for having us. First off, you taking your time to do this and talk to us. Definitely appreciate that. My closing thoughts. Well, first, I'll just tell you where to find me. Young Waff, YUNGWAFF, Brandon Collier. Just type that in somewhere. The Waffle 77 on Twitch. Hit your boy at that prime. All that good stuff. But
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, basically, I think my goal is just to make Rollback Rumble to a point where, like, I hear Shiggles saying it'd be cool if he could do graphic layouts for a living. Like, that's the goal for me. Like, to make it to where that's actually a thing, like a reality for him, right? Or for Jayde, it's TO for hire, but it would feel great to be able to give Jayde a point where Jay could just make a living off of doing what they love, right? Like, that's like where my head's at. So I'm trying. I don't know how I could do it or manifest that, but like, man, that would be dope. That would be dope to be able to do that and to be able to also sponsor a player. That's like where my head's at. To get Rollback Rumble to a point to where, like, I don't know, not like no org or nothing, but maybe, who knows, but just to a point where, the people involved that put in hours of work daily don't have to think about like working or getting a job because they can do this. That's what I wish I could do. So I'm trying to do that, but I guess baby steps. But yeah, shout outs to obviously Jayde, Shiggles, Nathan, Eric, Violence, anybody that has helped me with these events. Shout outs to Beast Coast, the sponsor. I just recently got sponsored, which is crazy. Shout outs to them. Been helping me out too. Shout outs to Red Bull Gaming for hooking it up for us. Match Reno, everybody who's ever helped us in the process. Can
I get a quick shout out real quick?
I'll go for it, bro. Go for it.
Shout outs to the fundraiser event that's about to happen. Net play for Palestine.
Oh yeah. Free Palestine. That's facts. Just
support that.
Yeah, please support that. I would have entered that, but I'm going to Hawaii like next week, so I can't.
It's got a signal boost,
Yeah, but I'm definitely.
Oh yes, absolutely.
The
proceeds go to Mecca, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's correct. Middle East Children's Alliance. All proceeds, all donations, and yeah, it's gonna be a good event. We're gonna raise muttons.
Yeah.
And the baby steps that you were talking about, Brandon, being sponsored by Beast Coast is cool as a player, as a TO, as a member of a big important member of the Melee community. So cool to see that. And
I appreciate
it
that.
would be awesome to see you and Jayde, Shiggles, Joaq, and everybody else involved to hopefully be able to just do exactly this. Y'all love doing it. You put the time and effort into it now. Like, how awesome would it be that you also would be compensated for being able to do that? That would be an awesome reality to be in, and hopefully that won't be too far away. Or that's my hope, to see that out of y'all, because I can hear that when you talk about at different points, especially Brandon, since you're like the public face of Rollback Rumble. But I was so excited to have the possibility of having y'all on, because it's not just Brandon who does the work, does a lot of the work for sure. But I love talking to people who, behind the scenes is one way to phrase it, but just are contributing so much to the end product of what people tune in to see on Twitch on a given day for Melee. Like, who's playing Melee? Oh, there's a Rollback Rumble, and it's where a lot of amazing Melee moments happen, and that doesn't happen by accident. So thanks to all of your hard work. So thank y'all for coming on and being on the podcast with me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We're forever grateful, and again, follow the Twitter Rollback Rumble at Rollback Rumble. That is a collection of all of us. We got over 1,000 followers now. It's pretty crazy. I don't know how many Twitter followers does Rollback Rumble have.
Like last time I checked, like 1,400-ish somewhere.
That's pretty good. So yeah, you guys support what we got going on there.
Follow Cypher03 on Twitter.
Yep, that too.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have a feeling if you're listening now, you might already be doing that. So I guess that's kind of redundant.
if you're listening now and you wonder why Rollback Rumbles took a hiatus, it's because SCL was during that time, and it was just weird. We didn't want to conflict with what was going on. I didn't really have anything planned for Rollback Rumble, so it just would have been weird. So, plus we kind of needed the break. I feel like we needed the break. So we're chilling. We're gonna be back on the 27th, I think. Yeah, the 27th we'll be back. So we'll do the teams and stuff like we normally do, and then just going into June, we're probably just gonna have what we normally do. We just been taking breaks because Rollback Rumble, we've had this instance before, like when spectator mode wasn't out, we just waited, and this scenario was like SCL on top of like just the little Hawaii trip I got going on. I didn't want to start it this week just to not do it next week, especially with the Free Palestine event coming up anyway. So yeah, we'll be back 27th, and then we'll do our weekly thing like as per usual while getting ready for the big one. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, again, appreciate you, Cypher, for just having us, and just Jayde and Shiggles for always being there, and homies, and they're always both. I like how I don't know how chill you guys are in general about things, because that's kind of how I am, and I feel like just the intent's good too. Like, you guys don't try to do things for attention or nothing like that. It's just like, you know what I mean, it's just like to make it all dope. And I don't know, I think that's fire. That's something that it's just hard to come by. Y'all are goated. Definitely could not have done this without y'all. That's for damn sure. So,
hey, I mean, I wouldn't really be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel it. It's teamwork make the dream work.
True.
And we're just a small little group of people who like to do dope events. So yeah, follow the Rollback Rumble Twitter though. Like, a lot of the questions that you guys have for us are answered on that Twitter. So instead of DMing me and Jayde, you should just follow that. It'll help you out.
It's not as easy as having a yellow wristband on, but it is pretty close. So yes, please go drop a follow for at Rollback Rumble. All the links, actually, the Smash GG page for the big one, and all of your Twitters, just about anything that we have shilled and plugged, that's going to be in the description of this podcast episode. So it is as easy as tapping or clicking. So please make good of that and go support at twitch.tv/waffle77. Drop the primes. That's such an easy way to also not only support by being, dropping all the emojis in chat, but also just like a little bit goes a long way for Brandon and the team. So go drop a follow there, and that's where you'll find all of these awesome events coming up in the next few weeks, and then in July the big one.
Yep.
Peace. And I think we can cut off there then, if that's all right with y'all.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Bottom of the Smash Mountain. Before you get going, please like the video. Where are you going? You left. Well, for those of you who are still here, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your favorite part of the interview. Hey, is there a timestamps person that wants to post them? Because for now, the only thing that I'm doing for timestamps is the start of the interview and the end of the interview. You're welcome, YouTube. I couldn't be bothered. At least for now, I couldn't be bothered. So if you also want to listen to this podcast in its entirety, I have exclusive podcast audio that is separate from the audio that I post here onto YouTube. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you can check out Bottom of the Smash Mountain on your favorite podcasting platform. Seriously. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all kinds of podcasts. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.